This is my Space 1999 Rescue Eagle. It was built from an old AMT Ertl model kit that originally came out in the 70s and was re-released years later. It's seen some action, especially during the last move. Lost a couple of pieces here and there, but thought we'd get it together. One of the legs came off, of course the one right in front that everyone's going to see. And then of course the one in the back. I'm still not sure why these ones failed. I spent a lot of time making this kit as accurate as I possibly could. I built it when I was much younger and just kind of threw it together and painted it and had fun playing with it. So for this version, I really wanted to get in and add details that we never saw and then give it an amazing paint job. And since it was so detailed, the top, the bottom, I decided I would put it on this display, which would keep it elevated off the table and at a dramatic angle so you could see it. All the little cages were completely rebuilt from styrene, and all the details on the bottom were built with bits of stuff from the parts bin. All in all, I tried to make it as close to the original models used in the TV show as possible, but with this kit, you can only go so far, and that's fine. I loved it anyway. So to get rolling, thought maybe I'd give it a little dust. You know, gently get the dust off your display model. It's important to keep your models looking good. Fortunately, I'm reasonably familiar with how tough this model is. It's built pretty strong in spite of the couple of pieces that came off of it. The Moonbase itself was laser cut out of acrylic by a friend of mine that worked at an architectural model shop. I really liked the addition of a miniature Moonbase to create a whole scene from the show. To get started for repairs, we'll just gently pull apart the cockpit, give it a little closer dusting. I'm still pretty careful with the model. Most of it has been given a clear coat that prevents major scratches and defects if you're doing brushing like this. And the stand that I have it on is made out of square stock brass, which really holds a lot of weight, especially when you're trying to keep it displayed the way I am here, angled out, floating in midair. I'm not really going to do anything too crazy for this repair because, you know, in all honesty, this isn't an award winner or something like that. I just really want it to look nice on my shelf. So I thought we'd move some pieces out of the way, pull out some glue. And as you can see, the Moonbase itself is on its own platform. I really like this display of the Moonbase and would like to replicate it for another display, maybe even larger. The backside is not covered by much. This actually could be lit pretty easily in a future rebuild. So to get started, I wanted to make sure that I got these little legs positioned properly. Turns out it didn't really matter too much. The parts are almost identical. The interface points, the little brass pegs that I had installed to hold the landing gear are all basically the same size. I knew I was going to end up with a blob of super glue in the bottom of the thing anyway. So, no one was really going to see it. First, I wanted to get some of the accelerator handy in a little container. This makes the semi-viscous super glue kick off quicker. I'm not going to spray it on the model. I really don't like the way the spray affects the painted surfaces, so I have an old brush standing by. This didn't set up as quickly as I make it look here. It took a little bit before it finally kicked off, but once it was there, it was pretty happy. And then, you know, take my brush with the accelerator. Gets it pretty solidly in place. The rear pad was a little bit more difficult, and I struggled with trying to repeat the repair the way I did in the first one before I realized I was pretty much fighting against gravity, and what's the point of that? So, let's just take the easy way out. Throw some glue in the piece, and then just set the model on top of it. All else fails. Fortunately, there's some working time in this super glue, so it's not going to immediately dry the second you put it on there. It's just me lining it up. And a little accelerator just to speed up the process. There. There was a little detail bit that also fell off on one of the leg pieces. I didn't film the actual repair of that, but by the end you'll see it's in position. Next, make sure your cockpit is properly aligned with the upright position and slide it back on. It wasn't really necessary for me to make the cockpit detachable, but it's a feature that I absolutely love. And it helps make it easier to travel. And then reassembly of the kit involves this brass support. It locks gently at place at a kind of a weird angle. I remember figuring it out when I was first building this model. And there we go. Free of most dust and all pieces accounted for. And it's ready to go back on the shelf. Or to fly off on another mission over Moonbase Alpha.